Nobody cares.
I don't want
about
to
that.
create
Welcome to the Finance Committee meeting. First order of business is to approve last month's committee meeting minutes. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Beatty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, going on to our action agenda. First item is to request for transfer of funds, and those are in your packet.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Beatty. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay. 2. This is from the Criminal Justice and Public Safety under Sheriff. Is a request to amend the county budget in the amount of $350 to reflect the receipt of compensation for a loss. Motion made by Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor Garrity. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. B, request to amend the county budget in the amount of $24,560.50 to reflect the receipt of funds from Hadley Luzerne Central School District for safety resource officer services within the school district.
I'll move it.
Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Dickinson. Is this just a part of this?
No, that's partial, and that's what...
It's partial, and then they do another partial?
I believe so.
Okay. Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in... Oh, I'm sorry.
It's my understanding that this is for the equipment that was purchased in order to...
Oh, just equipment?
Yeah. This is not the money that they pay us for the officer.
For the officer himself.
Correct. None of the other schools, as far as I know, are not yet chipping in this additional money, but Hadley Luzerne is.
Oh, it's equipment?
Yeah.
That's services.
For insurance and equipment, wasn't it, Claudia?
Okay.
That just seems like a lot, because I thought the quote on the equipment was like 6,000.
Yeah, actually, if you do follow it along here on in your packet under item 3, it does list it all out. So. Okay, I'm sorry. We do have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on to 3, referrals from the Economic Growth and Development Committee. And this is a request to authorize payment in the amount of $7,000 to Lake Champlain, Lake George Regional Planning Board. Motion made by Supervisor Simpson, seconded by Supervisor McDevitt. All those in favor?
Aye.
Discussion?
You want discussion? Go ahead.
Thank you. I think I'm comfortable now that we're at the point where it's been cleaned up, at least going forward. I've commented before, I hope, though, that we do not bury all the past mistakes, because I find those rather disturbing, and a lot of times with government, we close the barn door, the horses got out, so we don't let any other horses run, but we never go back and get the horses that ran wild. And so there's some very disturbing loans in there. I know we have the Controller's Office in there. I know Dave O'Brien now is chairing that committee, and I have confidence in him. But I just want to reiterate, I hope our representatives are fully aware that I personally am not going to just let the past mistakes just be blown away and not addressed. So I will support the $7,000 now. It was Ms. Bramer and I who said let's rescind the $7,000 until we have some type of comfort level that going forward we're going to do things correctly. And I have that comfort level now, so I will support this. Thank you.
And I will say Monday's discussion was great. Beth was awesome. She addressed all the questions that the committee had, so she did a great job. Yes, Supervisor.
A comment I was going to make is that I do appreciate that someone from the Regional Planning Board is coming to Economic Growth, so I would request that the chairman continue making sure that happens.
I'm sure he will. I'm sure he will.
We have added them to the distribution list on the schedule, so they will know when our meetings are scheduled.
Okay, we did vote, but let's vote again, please. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I abstain. Carried. Moving on, item 4, referrals from the Health, Human Social Services Committee. Under Mental Health, we have a request to amend the county budget, the amount of $4,482, and this is to reflect the receipt of funding from the New York State Office of the Mental Health. Motion made by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Beatty. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. 5, we have referrals from the Public Works Committee under DPW. Item A is a request to decrease capital project. This is under County Route 44 over Hudson River Bridge Painting Project, the amount of $83,873.55 to reconcile capital project funding shares to close the capital project.
I'll make a motion on A, B, C, because they're all...
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion on items A, B, and C. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Bramer. Any discussion on these? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item 6, this is under Support Services Committee, the County Auditor. She is looking for a transfer of funds, the amount of $500 from the contingent account to cover the cost of supplies for the remainder of the year. She used some of the monies for education, so she didn't have enough to cover for the supplies, so that was all discussed Monday as well. Okay, we have a motion made by Supervisor Bramer, second by Supervisor Straub. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Under IT, we have a request to appropriate funds in the amount of $700 from the Computer Reserve Fund to the to budget code. Okay, so real property tax. Okay. Thank you. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, second by Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Moving on, item 7. This is a request by the county administrator. Okay. No, but he's got something else.
I do, yeah. Any questions on the journal reports? I did want to bring up a situation that occurred on Monday at Countryside. Monday there was a freezer malfunction. It basically wasn't keeping food frozen anymore. They had to cancel a food order. It, under our purchasing policy, qualified as an emergency because it affects the health and safety of the residents at Countryside. The purchasing policy says in this situation that the department is to solicit competitive quotes. They don't have to go to bid. They have to solicit quotes and then get the approval of the chairman of the board and the county attorney. Ed Corcoran reached out to 4 different companies to do this repair work. He first checked with the county, I should mention, with our building staff and DPW staff, and this was not a repair that we could do in-house. Ed, as I said, reached out to 4 companies. LaPan Precision was the one that could get here the quickest and had a reasonable rate. They came on Tuesday. The bill for their work on Tuesday is going to be about $700, and they determined that we need to replace the condenser and the evaporator in that freezer, and they estimate that that'll cost about $6,000. They're still working up a quote on that. So that's an informational item, and we will report back to the Health Committee when we know.
So, Ryan, are you saying that we need a resolution to pay, or are we waiting to get...
We're going to wait to see what the
We're gonna
cost
wait to
is.
see the-
Yeah, we'll bring it back to the Health Committee.
Okay, okay. Okay, so that was just informational.
Yes.
Anything else, Ryan?
Nope, that's all.
Okay. Moving on, under item 8 is Finance Committee actions required on the following items approved by Personnel and Higher Education Committee, and those are 3, 4, and 5A through D. Motion made by Supervisor Simpson, second by Supervisor Frazier. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. I will ask for privilege of the floor. We do have a brief executive session to go into. That will be to discuss a potential settlement in ongoing litigations, but if anybody from the floor would like to come to the podium, I would extend that at this point. Treasurer?
Yeah, we actually 2 days ago.
Michael, do you mind coming to the podium? There's air conditioning that's going, stuff to hear up here.
I just discussed this with our county administrator and with the chairman of our board. It came to my attention 2 days ago that the railroad property that the county owns in the town of Hadley, Iowa Pacific or whatever their subsidiary, never paid the taxes on them. So we're going to have to, and they're basically will start foreclosure proceedings, Saratoga County, next week on them. So I would suggest that, it's not my call, but I would suggest strongly that we may want to pay those taxes. Plus, there's a September school tax bill that's out there right now that needs to be found. Normally, these type of things are either paid through Parks and Recs or DPW. I know that, I'm sure that Kevin, the look Kevin just gave me, that he doesn't have 30 grand to pay the back taxes on that. So, I don't have an agenda thing on it. We didn't do any kind of paperwork because I just found out about it. But I think it's something we need to make everybody aware of. And I would assume that the committee would want to pay those taxes.
Do we want to bring this back then to, are you asking to bring this back to committee first and then, or are you?
Well, this is, I mean, what we would have to do is I'm assuming, because I haven't really had a chance to even look at the Rex budget or DPW, that they don't have 30-some thousand. So that money's going to have to be moved with a resolution from, I would say, contingency into theirs. I don't have the exact amount because the amount will change as of tomorrow at 5 o'clock. So we won't have an exact amount until next week as to what's exactly owed.
Supervisor Brown?
Okay, I have a bunch of questions, so I don't know, are we going to move this back to committee, or should I ask them now?
That would be my thought, is to move it back to committee and go through the process rather than trying to push it through here.
Well, let me ask this, are they in the same place we are? Like, they're going to foreclose this coming month and then sell it at auction the next month?
No, it would be, I mean, their auction won't be until March, okay? But the foreclosure procedures will be starting next month for Saratoga.
Okay, so we have time.
But remember, every month, there's more money is tacked on because there's a percentage added every month.
Do we know what that
Plus,
percentage
the longer
is?
you go, the more fees you're going to have to pay, posting fees, abstract fees, publication fees, all of those things. So the longer we wait, the more it's going to cost.
What is the size of the lot?
This is for the actual rails, the land that the rails sit on, and for a parking lot down there.
Do you know what the size of the lot is? Is it more than one lot?
What do you mean more than one lot?
Is it more than one tax map parcel?
There's 2 tax map parcels involved. Okay, one is for the actual rails that run through Hadley, and the other is for a parking lot down there.
Not for the station.
Station.
The station.
Station there, yeah.
Who was
Supervisor
putting the
Mc-
notices about tax payments due?
The bills went to Iowa Pacific or Saratoga, North Creek, I'm not sure how they were set up, but that's what, and under the lease, I want to point out that under the lease that the county signed with them, they were responsible for paying these taxes.
Supervisor McDevitt?
I'm just trying to think through the you might say the implications of this. I mean, the rail lines. It's something that you would bid on? Is it something that Saratoga County would bid on? Is it what are the implications of somebody owning those rail lines?
Not a clue. I have no idea.
Anybody can bid on.
Well, we obviously have a lot of questions. My suggestion would be to move this back to committee, but I will take guidance from the committee here. What is your thoughts?
I'm just the bearer of bad news
Yeah,
here, so
yeah.
whatever you decide to do.
Supervisor Dickinson?
We want to get rid of it, right?
I think it's a foregone conclusion. We're going to pay our taxes. I don't see why we just don't get to it, do it. Why pay all the extra money?
How much are we talking? How much are we talking in interest?
30-some thousand.
A little over 30 grand
No,
right now.
but if we continue to wait, you
Well,
said...
it's 1% a month, every month, and then I have no idea what the publication fees and abstract fees and all those things that are added on would be.
Why don't we have our county attorney weigh in on this? What are your thoughts?
I can tell you the process for the foreclosure. So the county would take title to the land if the taxes aren't paid, and then they would either decide to put it into the auction where someone else could bid on it, or they would keep it county-owned. I don't know what they're going to do with it. I don't know if they want railroad tracks. I can't imagine they do after seeing what happened with us, but I can reach out to them and see what their plans are for it if you want me to.
Well, I can kind of jump you one step on that. They have no interest in our railroad track.
Supervisor Stroud.
Who owns the two parcels?
Warren County owns it.
Warren County owns them?
Yes.
We gotta pay the taxes.
I think we should.
Bingo.
I agree with that.
All right, let's do it.
Superintendent Hajos.
As far as the budget goes, we just moved money into the railroad budget for this year just to cover some of the contractual expenses that we had. We do have budgeted next year for taxes, not $30,000.
Well, it wouldn't be, because that's for 2 years plus penalties and interest and so forth. So you figure that it's going to be half of that or less on an annual basis. Yeah, that's good.
Michael, what was the total amount again, please?
It's right around 30,000. 24,000 and change on one and 5,000 and change on the other.
So why don't we have a cap, set it like 35,000, and we pay it out of contingency? Is that what the committee would like to do?
I'll move that.
Motion made by Supervisor Dickinson, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. Any more discussion?
I'd like to ask our budget director, Frank Thomas, is there enough in contingency or
Yeah, there is.
we're all set on that? Yeah. Enough to cover that?
I think it's about 175, does that sound right?
Glad that, you're okay with this, Frank?
We're losing tracks, no.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second. All those in, oh, I'm sorry.
I'm not opposed to paying the taxes, but what you just said is pay it or lose it. I mean, if we're about to go into this next meeting where we talk about an RFP to sell the tracks, why in the world would we pay the taxes on it? We're just going to let it go anyway.
Sell it, deal with it.
I mean, how much value is, we don't know what the size of the lot is, what the distance of the tracks.
Supervisor Garrity?
I would just say, you know, it is another county, and it is the town of Hadley that generate. I'm just not for stiffing one of our neighbors on taxes because somebody we did business with. We can always try to recoup our money from Iowa Pacific. We can always bring them in a small claims court to try to get the money out of them. But I'm just for paying our neighbor and doing what's right.
Good point.
I just can't see stiffing another county because of what's a bad business decision we're into.
Okay, we do have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you for coming today, Michael.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we still do need to go into a brief executive session, and again, this is to discuss a potential settlement and ongoing litigations. Motion made by Supervisor Strauss, seconded by Supervisor Frazier. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
I just want to be able to get the property back to where they
All right, so no action was taken in executive session, but I would like to turn this matter over to our county attorney, Mary.
So if the committee agrees to the settlement, I just need a motion to deed 30 River Street back to Samantha Packard.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor...
I'm sorry, it's Cynthia Camardo, the daughter.
Cynthia Camardo.
It's Cynthia Camardo.
I'll make it.
Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Dickinson. Any discussion? Supervisor Bramer?
The corrected name is the person who
Cynthia Camardo.
last had it.
Correct.
And filed that deed after us.
Correct.
And who has been paying.
Well, the daughter's
I guess it doesn't matter. All right. But we're giving it to the person that had it
who
last.
owned it last, yeah.
Okay.
Okay, and nobody else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, I already had the privilege of the floor. Anybody else have anything for finance? Motion to adjourn. Motion made by Supervisor Garrity, seconded by Supervisor Stroud. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Thank you.